What if I told you that one of baseball's most talked about young outfielders just had a game that reminded everyone why his potential has always been so hyped? On Tuesday night, Joe Adell of the Los Angeles Angels lit up the box score with not one, but two solo home runs in a matchup against the Cincinnati Reds. The Angels may have fallen short in a 6-4 loss, but Adell's bat was the storyline of the night. Going 3 for 4 at the plate, he gave fans a glimpse of what his future in Major League Baseball could look like if he can find that consistency. And that's what makes this game worth talking about. Adell's power is undeniable, and even though his overall numbers have been up and down, moments like these are a reminder of the superstar ceiling he still has. Let's break down exactly what happened. Adell's first homer came in the 7th inning, a solo shot that put some life back into the Angels' dugout. His second blast came in the very next frame, an 8th-inning bomb that tied the game at 4-4. For a brief moment, it looked like Adell might be the hero of the night, single-handedly keeping his team alive. That kind of back-to-back impact is exactly what teams dream of when they draft and develop power-hitting outfielders. Even though the Reds answered back and ultimately walked away with the win, Adell proved that he can change the course of a game in just a couple of swings. Now, here's where things get interesting. Tuesday's performance wasn't a one-off. Adell has actually been on a bit of a hot streak lately, with 3 home runs in his last 3 games. That's the kind of production that can give a player serious momentum down the stretch, especially in a season where his batting average has hovered at just .233. For critics who say Adell hasn't lived up to his potential, these kinds of performances are the answer. He's not only hitting the ball out of the park, but doing it in clutch moments that matter. So, where does this put his season totals? With the 2 home runs against the Reds, Adell is now sitting at 28 homers, 78 RBIs, 49 runs scored, and 3 stolen bases over the course of 119 games. Statistically, those numbers represent real progress. Sure, his batting average might not jump off the page, but his .777 OPS is the highest of his career so far. That's a sign that he's not just making contact, but making impactful contact. OPS combines on-base percentage and slugging, and for a power hitter like Adell, seeing growth in this area is exactly what coaches and fans want. For those who have followed his journey, Adell's development has been anything but smooth. Drafted as one of the Angels' top prospects, he came into the league with sky-high expectations. Scouts raved about his athleticism, his raw power, and his ability to play all 3 outfield positions. But as with many young players, translating that potential into major league consistency has been a challenge. Strikeouts have been an issue, plate discipline has been a work in progress, and there have been stretches where he's struggled to put the ball in play. Still, games like Tuesday night prove that the talent is there. It's just about harnessing it more consistently. The Angels, of course, are a team in transition. With stars like Mike Trout battling injuries and Shohei Ohtani now with the Dodgers, Los Angeles needs young players to step up. Adell's recent surge could not come at a better time. Fans are hungry for reasons to believe in the future of the franchise, and seeing homegrown talent produce at a high level is exactly the kind of storyline that gives people hope. If Adell can keep showing flashes of his power while improving his approach at the plate, he could solidify himself as a key part of the Angels' long-term core. It's also important to note that hitting 2 home runs in a single game is no small feat. Major league pitching is as tough as it gets, and the Reds staff has been competitive all season. For Adell to go deep twice and nearly carry his team to victory shows that he's starting to recognize pitches better and drive them with authority. When hitters enter that kind of rhythm, they can suddenly go on streaks where they hit multiple home runs in a week, or even in back-to-back games. That's why fans are watching closely to see if this hot streak continues. The other stat that jumps out is Adell's 28 home runs on the season. Think about that. In a year where he's still finding his footing, he's managed to put up nearly 30 homers. That's the kind of raw power that only a handful of players in the league can generate. To put it into perspective, many established major leaguers never crack 25 in a season. For Adell, who's still only 25 years old, reaching this level shows how dangerous his bat can be if he puts everything together. If he can keep improving, there's no reason to think he couldn't be a 35 or even 40 home run hitter in the future. But let's not overlook the reality check. Adell's batting average is still just .233. That number highlights the inconsistency that has followed him so far. While the power is undeniable, hitting for average and getting on base regularly are areas where he needs to grow. That's why his OPS is so encouraging. It shows that even with a lower average, he's making his hits count. The next step is improving his plate discipline, cutting down on strikeouts, and finding ways to turn those hard swings into more contact. If he can raise his average even slightly, his overall value to the Angels could skyrocket. From a fan perspective, Adell is one of those players you can't stop watching. Every time he steps into the box, there's the feeling that something big might happen. That's the allure of power hitters. Even when they're struggling, one swing can completely change the outcome of a game. Tuesday's matchup was the perfect example. Despite the Angels' loss, the highlight reels focused on Adell's home runs. It's that kind of excitement that keeps fans engaged, even in seasons where the team might not be in contention for the playoffs. This moment also speaks to the bigger picture of player development in baseball. Not every top prospect becomes an instant star. Some take years to adjust, to learn from failures, and to build the mental toughness needed at the major league level. Jo Adell's story is still being written, and while the early chapters have been filled with ups and downs, the potential for a breakout is still alive. Tuesday night's game may not erase all the struggles, but it adds another chapter that shows growth, resilience, and the flashes of brilliance that made him such a highly regarded prospect in the first place. As the Angels move forward, Adell's performance will be one of the key storylines to watch. Can he keep hitting at this level? Will his power numbers continue to climb, or will inconsistency hold him back? Baseball is a game of adjustments, and what separates good players from great ones is the ability to adapt. Adell has shown that he has the tools, and now it's about putting them together over a full season. If he does, the Angels may finally have the homegrown power hitter they've been waiting for, someone who can anchor their lineup for years to come. So here's the takeaway. Tuesday's two-homer night might not have ended in victory for the Angels, but it was a personal win for Jo Adell. It was a reminder of his immense talent, a statement to fans that he's still growing, and a preview of what could be a very bright future. 28 home runs, 78 RBIs, and a career-best OPS tell the story of progress, even if the batting average lags behind. The Angels may have lost the game, but Adell stole the show, and if he keeps trending upward, he could soon become one of the most exciting young power hitters in all of baseball. One thing that can't be ignored about Jo Adell's rise is how much he's had to overcome mentally. Being labeled a can't-miss prospect brings enormous pressure, and when early struggles hit, critics can be quick to call a player a bust. Adell has heard those voices, but instead of fading away, he's kept grinding, improving his swing mechanics, and working on his approach at the plate. Tuesday's performance was not just about numbers on a stat sheet, it was about resilience. To keep coming back after setbacks, to stay ready for the next opportunity, and to deliver in clutch situations, that's what separates professionals from prospects. Adell's two-homer game is proof that his hard work is starting to show results. Another factor in Adell's story is the way the Angels are handling his development. For years, fans have questioned whether the team gave him enough consistent playing time to settle in. Shuttling between the majors and minors can stunt a player's rhythm, especially for a hitter still adjusting to big league pitching. This season, though, with more opportunities to play every day, Adell has been able to show what he can do over a longer stretch. Even if the batting average isn't where he wants it, the power numbers reflect that consistent playing time is helping him unlock his potential. The Angels' patience might finally be paying off. It's also worth considering how Adell's defense and athleticism factor into his value. While his bat has been the main talking point, he's also an outfielder with the speed and range to cover ground and make highlight reel plays. If he can combine improved defensive reliability with his developing bat, his overall impact could be huge. Baseball today values players who can contribute in multiple ways, and Adell has the tools to do exactly that. His journey isn't just about hitting home runs. It's about becoming a complete player who can change games with both his glove and his bat. Looking ahead, the big question is consistency. Can Jo Adell turn these flashes of brilliance into sustained production? If so, the Angels may have found a cornerstone player for the future. With Mike Trout's health uncertain and the roster needing new stars, Adell has a golden opportunity to step into a bigger role. Fans will be watching closely, not just for the highlight homers, but for the signs that he's becoming more disciplined at the plate, more dependable in the field, and more confident as a leader. Tuesday night's two-homer showcase was just one game, but it might also be a turning point, the moment people look back on as the beginning of Jo Adell's breakout.